What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Hunter Jeff, and if this is your first time watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It greatly helps a small channel like this one to grow and to put out more videos just like this one. But today, we're going through my Pokemon portfolio reveal. I will explain in a second here. We'll jump over to it. We'll take a look at graded products, raw cards, and sealed, kind of how I got to this number, when I started, how I made certain decisions, and even some things that I'm looking at possibly selling. Most of it, I will say, is going to be a long term hold for me. I truly want to continue to build this portfolio, but guys, let's get into it. We've got a lot to get through, and I'll try to go as quickly as I can. All right, so let me start out by saying my last video that I just put out, I had a little bit of an issue with OBS Studio. I just transitioned to the software and it was, capturing everything super widescreen, cut off a little bit from the top and bottom. Might have been a little bit hard to see, but I did get it figured out. Hopefully, it's displaying a little bit better on your screen now. And moving forward, this is the format we will be using. So hopefully, that's a lot better for you guys, especially on mobile where it can be a lot harder to see. Okay, so getting into this, I've got my portfolio pulled up. I currently don't have Collector Pro. I think, that's something I would like to get at some point, to be able to go back and really look at everything. Honestly, I've only had the Collector app for about a year and a half. That's kind of when I put everything into this app. And but the portfolio itself, everything that you'll see in here really started getting going back in 2020, the COVID boom. That's what brought me back into the hobby. Now, I did have some stuff from like 2015, 2016 era. I was in college at the time. Didn't have a lot of expendable, funds, but I did, get some cards here and there. Some of that has carried over to now, and I did hold on to some of that stuff, thankfully. But it's mostly just raw cards, things like that. So really what I want to get out here is I've built this most of this portfolio over the last year and a half. And the growth you see on this screen, some of that certainly is from, me purchasing certain things and adding it into this portfolio, but I've also sold a lot of stuff. So a lot of these gains are just natural growth over the last, 4 or 5 years. And I do try to consistently kind of rotate out some products to move into plays that I think have better value. And I'll explain some of those along the way. But getting into the actual items. So everything listed here is going to be, sealed slabs, and even raw cards. What I will preface this with is that I really didn't get into sealed collecting until like the last, year and a half when I started using the collector app and putting things in here. I was mainly up until that point focused on just collecting the raw cards because I thought they were cool and doing my own grading. Getting started out with grading can be rough at first if you don't know what you're doing. I certainly experienced that. I would send cards in that definitely were not worth a PSA 10 or even a PSA 9 at some times. But that has changed a lot. I now know what I can look for in certain cards. My pre-grading and all that means is just looking at a card and identifying whether you think it's worthy of a PSA 10. I believe that's gotten pretty good. My hit rate for PSA 10s has dramatically increased, even with PSA, upping their standards and making things a little bit more difficult these days. But you'll see a lot of slabs on here, and that's because of how long I've been doing that for compared to sealed collecting. So let's start with sealed. So I'll click this little filter on here, and again, I'll walk through all of this, but most of this sealed product I'm gonna be holding on to, guys. I know 151, for example, has really taken off. I think it's just one of those sets that you really should hold on to if you can. Now, it has seen insane growth, and if you need the money, absolutely sell. Like you got to do what you got to do. But I do think 151 is just one of those generational sets that's going to continue to perform over time. These are products that I personally, barring any major life changes, would love to hold on to for at least a decade or two, honestly. Same with Prismatic Evolution. So you'll see the number one, at least as far as price goes, sealed product on here is a booster bundle case of Prismatic Evolutions. This is something that I think is an extremely strong um, hold for me. Like booster bundles alone, just as they are, just single booster bundles, grab them off a shelf. Although that's hard to do these days, I understand. I think they're incredible buys. I think they're around $70, $75 right now. My last video for Prismatic Evolutions, I explained why I think those are such a good purchase at this time. And having a sealed case of them, there will always be a premium on that. So if you were to break it down, 25 booster bundles times 75, you wouldn't quite get to the 1905 that's listed there. But that's just because there is always a premium on sealed cases of things. Like I said, 151 is a hold for me. These Pokemon Center ETBs, you'll see a few of them on here from various Scarlet and Violet sets. I will not be selling any of those. I think, if these were Sword and Shield Pokemon Center ETBs, now would be the time to sell. If you have any of those that you're holding on to, I personally just think that your money is better spent elsewhere, better, placed elsewhere. That's because those, although they're Pokemon Center ETBs and they are, super limited, S&V has the promo inside with the Pokemon Center stamp, and Sword and Shield didn't get that. So there's just not nearly as much value there. And I was actually having a conversation with a buddy of mine the other day about these Pokemon Center stamps. And, he was saying how it's kind of crazy how just that stamp on there changes the price so much. But really, the way I look at it is like this is kind of like this era's first edition. Not saying it's, that dramatic, but really think about this, guys. This is the first time we're getting these types of cards in these ETBs with that Pokemon Center stamp, and they will be seen as such moving forward. I think Pokemon Center will continue to do them, and SNV era is going to be seen as the first time that that happened. So, Pokemon Center products in general, I think, are a very strong hold right now. Slash buy if you can. So you'll see a couple more as we go. But moving on to the next one, we've got the Destin Rivals booster boxes. I only have two of them, guys. I would have loved to had more. I wish I had purchased more. But hindsight is 2020, and I'm just happy that I have two. There are so many differing opinions on Destin Rivals on, what sort of reprints we're going to get, whether we are going to get reprints of booster boxes or not. I would like to think that we will at some point, but time keeps passing and that's not looking like it's, anywhere close. So Destin Rivals, it's seen just, continued growth, strong month after month growth, but I'm still not selling it. I was tempted when these went up to $600 to sell one or two of them, but as you can tell, I'm still holding on to it. I just don't. I think that's again the best mainline set from Scarlet and Violet. It's going to do very well over time. These Pokemon Center Elite Trainer boxes from Celebrations, these are a product. I've got four of them. One has a little bit of a tear in it, but it's not anything crazy. By the way, guys, if you have product like that that has a tiny rip in it, it's not a huge deal, but you don't want to be buying something that has already, appreciated super like a large percentage amount and then be paying that premium when it has a tear. Um, just buy a perfectly good sealed one if you are, that confident in the product, or just move to something else. The reason is if you can get something at MSRP or, a year after it releases and it's, hitting an all-time low, that doesn't matter as much if you're going to buy it at that point with a little tear in it because you're getting it for so cheap. However, you have to think about it like this. The exponential growth you'll see on these products means that if you save 20 bucks on something that has a micro tear in it in the beginning, these products, could be 500, $1,000 each one day, and then that tear could cost you 100, $200 on an extremely expensive product. So you save 20 bucks in the beginning to lose out on possibly hundreds down the line. So always try to get nice minty boxes, especially in today's era where, everyone seems to be collecting at least some sort of sealed product. That's just my recommendation. That would be my advice to you guys. Okay, so now we've got the Destin Rivals Pokemon Center ETBs. Again, wish I got more of these, but I'm happy with the three that I have. And there's not much else to say about these other than that just the artwork alone on the ETBs, and I hate, really talking about this because it doesn't even play into the cards that are inside the box, but ETBs with cool designs on them do actually perform very well over time. It's just how it has always been. Even if they are like a lackluster set, but we all know Destin Rivals is not that. You get Giovanni and Mewtwo on the front of the box, the Team Rocket logo. I just think these are going to do so well in the long run. I have one of these Greninja boxes. It's honestly not that great of a box, and I will say this is one of those products I'm looking at selling soon. It's a cool design box. I love that you get that like Greninja Shuriken or whatever it is on the front of the box. It's gold. It's sitting behind me on my display. I do really like it, but like the packs you get inside are just not that great. And the promos are okay. You get like a metal Greninja card, which is really cool, but this has already seen such dramatic growth. I think my money could be placed better elsewhere. So that's one of the products I'm looking at selling soon. The Prismatic SBCs, that's a hold. Phantasmal Flames. Of all the Scarlet and Violet era booster boxes, this is one that I would maybe consider selling, but I only have one of it, so probably not. I'm probably going to continue to hold. If it dips, it dips. That's fine. Again, sealed investing is one of those things that you can't be emotional about. If you hold on to it for a long time, just know that more than likely it's going to go up in value. Ascended Heroes Pokemon Center ETBs. The story with this is I did not catch the drop myself. I had to, pay the scalper prices. But the guy that I pre-ordered two through, he, said he had a few listed on eBay, but he took a couple of listings down for me. He sold them to me before we knew what market pricing was going to do. We agreed on a price. It was 190 per Pokemon Center ETB. That was the price we agreed on. And then the release comes out, and naturally, one of them got canceled. So I was a little frustrated about that, but he still sold me one. Whether it's true or not, I have no way of knowing, but didn't expect them to, rise as sharply as they did. I knew these were going to perform very well, and they will continue to do so. But I just wasn't expecting, a double up on my money within the first month of them releasing. But again, all Ascended Heroes product, if you can get your hands on it sealed, it's a hold, guys. It's another set that is it's up there with Prismatic Evolutions and possibly even better than it. I mean, if you look at the cards that are inside, a really strong hold and buy on Ascended Heroes right now. Mega Evolutions, I've got two booster boxes of that. Really strong base set. That was the transition away from Scarlet and Violet era into the Mega Evolution era. And usually base sets are not that strong, but I think these are very strong holds. I think this set will do very well. The card selection in it is fantastic, in my opinion. 151 Blooming Waters. If you're gonna buy 151 right now, this might be one of the best value plays. But I'll preface that by saying I'm currently not buying any 151 product. It's going through a massive boom right now, and who knows really what's going to happen. I do think we'll get a dip at some point again, and maybe I'll pick up some more. But right now, I'm allocating funds towards other sets. Dragon Ball, I won't touch too much on it. That was just one box that I happened to get at like 60 bucks a while ago because they were so dirt cheap. I was like, yeah, I grew up with Dragon Ball. I'll grab one. And that is something I'm looking at selling here pretty soon. Paradox Rift, same thing. It's rotating out here in like a month. So we might see a price rise on Paradox Rift. If not, it's not a huge deal. I just, tried to get one booster box of each set that I could at the time. And so Paradox Rift fell in that. And I do think that's probably something I'll end up selling here decently soon. I've got 5 boxes of Surging Sparks. Those are going to be holds for me. I think it's a very strong set. We got a lot of printing of it, but again, I just think it's going to do very well over time. More Pokemon Center ETBs. These were in a video that I put out of some of my favorite buys right now. You have a Charizard on the box and a Pikachu on the box. Pokemon Center stamped ETBs. They're gonna do very well. And I actually think, these are both a little undervalued right now. They've already risen a little bit from when I put that video out, and I think they're going to continue to do so. These Team Rocket's Moltres Ultra Premium Collections, that's one of my favorite buys right now. Market says 240, but I think they're even selling for higher than that on things like TCG Player. But if you can find them locally, I would pick up as many of those as you can. I think that's a really cool UPC. You get the stamped Moltres in there, the stamped version from Destined Rivals. I think it's just going to do really, really well over time, especially with that Rocket logo on it. Anything that has that usually does pretty well. I picked up one of each of these Pokemon Center Japan boxes. I know the promos in them are not anything too crazy. If you haven't seen them, look them up. It's not anything like the full art, like Poncho Pikachus or anything like that, but they are cool. This one, the Hiroshima one, you get a shiny Gyarados and on the card, on the box. I will keep them sealed. This one has the Latios, and I actually haven't even added the third one into my collector yet, but I think they're something that if you want to pick up one of each, it's not a bad time. They're basically at all-time lows right now, so I do think those are strong pickups. These Costco 8-pack mini tins for Prismatic. Last video I put out, I said that's one of my favorite Prismatic buys right now, just because you do get so many packs inside. Plus the promos, which are possible grading plays. They're very hard to get a 10 in, but if you do hit a 10 on one of them, they can be pretty pricey, and I think that trend will continue. Paldean Fates boxes, everyone was screaming to buy these all over, every platform that I saw, and I thought, that was an extremely smart play. I didn't get the drop on these. I don't have, bot software or anything that I can use to get me some of this stuff. So I end up paying market price, but I did pick up like all 8 of these for about $100 each. So very happy with a 100% return on all of those in less than a year. Really happy with that. More Pokemon Center ETBs, the Black Bolt, White Flare, love those. This 25th anniversary box, the Charizard box, that was a Chinese release, exclusive. Now, obviously, we got the reprint Charizard in each language, but the box itself was a Chinese exclusive release. This one, I think it's about doubled up from when I bought it back in 2020, so 100% return across 5-6 years. It's not a crazy product by any means, and I do think with the 30th anniversary and everything, that's probably something I'm looking at selling soon. 151 booster bundles, Mega Charizard boxes, those are a hold. More bundles, more ETBs, heavy hitters boxes from Costco. I did catch that drop. I do have a Costco membership, so I was able to grab those, and they released multiple times in my area with a 2-person limit, so I got what I could of those. I'll probably look at selling the Japanese booster boxes here soon. I just think, English is, gold in the Pokemon sealed space. So I think that money can be allocated back to some English stuff. More ETBs, more boxes, bundles, and that is my sealed portfolio. So now let's get into the cards themselves. These are the slabs. Now, again, let me just be super clear here. I was a raw card and slab investor first, and then I really started getting into sealed after that. So most of my portfolio value comes from my slabs, and really the entire portfolio itself, other than what you see behind me on the shelf, everything is either in the PSA vault or storage facility. So I don't keep any of that stuff on me. I do have a small display case with a few slabs that I just really like the art of. But all my really high dollar stuff, I do not feel comfortable keeping in my house, especially with, everything that's going on these days, and people are just crazy. So, guys, don't forget to protect yourself. If you have some of this really high dollar stuff, consider getting an offsite, storage facility. Have insurance or something to protect your investment. Or PSA Vault is a great option because it essentially is that it's insured, it's protected. You don't have to worry about anything happening to it. Now, the slabs themselves, these are all listed from highest value to lowest. This Snorlax Pokemon Center from 151, I picked that up, I think, for about 800 bucks. And that was less than a year ago. I mean, it just shows how crazy this space is right now, guys. Like some of these I've had for a very long time. Excuse me. These two Mew cards I did grade myself through CGC, and I sent in like, guys, I had ripped like 5 UPCs from 151 when they came out because they were so available. And I wish I had kept some sealed, but the kind of silver lining here is that I sent like 5 of these into CGC and 2 came back pristine. So I'm very happy with that because the populations on them are so low. If we even pull it up, it doesn't even have it listed, but excuse me, guys. I think at one point I saw it was in the like low hundreds, maybe even less. I mean, it's a very low population, which I understand. They're not as popular as PSA, but people do love those CGC pristines. So really like those. The Charizard, that was I actually picked this up in the PSA 10 from, I think I paid like 350 bucks on it, guys. Like everything has seen such a sharp rise. The Venusaur I graded myself. Pokemon Center stamped EVs. I got 2 of these, picked those up in the like 300 range. They were like 290 to 300. Those have almost doubled in price. The Tyranitar, such a low PSA 10 population on this. Same with the Drowsy. Those were pickups for me relatively recently. I think I got the Tyranitar for like 425. Drowsy I got for like 390, and that was maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Like it wasn't that long ago. And I think these are going to do very well because of those extremely low PSA 10 pops. They're very, very hard to grade, guys. Really don't understand my Umbreon from Evolving Skies. I sent it into CGC, and I have checked this card over 1,000 times. It might be a crack and resubmit to PSA because it actually looks perfect. So, can't believe it didn't get a pristine, but I might crack and submit it to PSA. Charizard, 30th anniversary coming up. Any celebration slabs that I have right now, I do think I'm looking to move once we hit the 30th anniversary. I think we'll start to see some really, sharp price appreciation with those as the 30th anniversary comes around. And then I can move those funds into some more sealed product. So again, if I go back to here, and I don't think I mentioned this yet, but like the percentages listed on here, so you can see right above me, cards, sealed, graded. These percentages are just representative of the amounts in there, not necessarily the dollar value. I've only got 7% of my portfolio is sealed, but that's just based on item quantity. That's not based on value. I'd say it's probably split pretty 50-50 between slabs and sealed at this point. But I do want that to lean more towards sealed moving forward in the future. And I think that's the smartest way to do it if you're looking for just, stable long-term growth. But slabs do offer that volatility, guys. I mean, some of these cards spike heavily. Just look at the Squirtle from 151. Let's take a look at the chart on this. I mean, just look at that. I mean, I know that's the raw price, but PSA 10 has done the same thing. It was $305, and now it's 528, 530. It's just crazy what can happen with some of these PSA 10s. Groudon was one of my PHJ's quick pick of the day. I think this is undervalued right now in both raw and PSA 10. It's already seen some price rises on it from when I made that video, guys. But I don't think it's too late. I think this is one of those cards that is going to do very well over time. and Paradox Rift is rotating out very, very soon. This Piplup, I pulled this myself back when I had like first jumped back into the hobby, and GameStop had this was before GameStop was doing their scalper prices. GameStop had those little Pokeball tins, and it came with like Cosmic Eclipse and a couple of other Sword and Shield packs in it. And I pulled this out of the one Cosmic pack in there, sent it into CGC like 2 years ago, and it came back a pristine 10. I was pumped about that because there's only like 20 something of these in the world in a pristine 10. So I will definitely be holding on to that card. Um, this Arcanine right here. So Nostalgianomics, if you don't follow him on YouTube, subscribe to him, then I highly recommend you do. He's got great information on the market. He kind of inspired me as well to like start this channel. He does these digital rip things with Galaxy Grails, and I participated once and pulled this, so that's how that got there. I'm definitely holding on to it. I love first edition cards, and the fact that it's a 9 makes this super limited. I there's just not many more of those that are going to come into existence. So I really like that. I'll be holding on to it. Um, yeah, guys, I mean, I've got a couple of tag slabs you'll see on here that most of my stuff is PSA. That is where I do like 95% of my grading, but things that look really, really clean, I will send into CGC just to try and get that pristine. I love the way the slabs look. And most of the time those end up being for my personal collection. But who knows? One day might sell them. I think CGC will continue to get more popular as they establish themselves longer in the market. PSA's just been doing, card grading a lot longer than CGC has, although CGC as a company has been around for a long time. These Charizard promos, I think, are still a very strong hold. I'm not holding on too much Sword and Shield anymore. I sold most of it off with this latest Sword and Shield boom back in, what was it, like November, October, November of 2025, and moved it into Scarlet and Violet stuff. I just think, and that might be a controversial opinion, but I just think that that stuff is going to perform better over time at this point. I think Sword and Shield has seen most of its price growth. That's not to say it won't do well. Sealed product of Sword and Shield will do very well over time. I just think Scarlet and Violet is going to outperform it. That's my opinion, though. I could absolutely be wrong with that, but that's just the way I feel about it. Now, the raw cards on here, like this Magikarp, I am building a National Dex binder called Dexter. It's been on a couple of my my shorts and just small little videos like that. But I'm building a National Dex binder, and I want it to be, most of it pretty high value cards. I want it to be a really, really cool National Dex binder, but I'm also getting cards that I think are value plays. Like a lot of it in there is going to be some vintage stuff that could do very well a long time and is just over a long time and that is super limited, or things like that Magikarp from Paldea Evolve that is just going to be a generational art. So I'm trying to make that super cool. There will be updates on Dexter over time. If you haven't seen those videos, go watch them. But yeah, guys, this is what we're working with here. I've got, again, this Mega Rayquaza going into the National Dex binder, bunch of PSA 10s, some CGC 10s, pristines, a few tag slabs. And really, the point of me showing you this portfolio, guys, is I'm not trying to show off. I'm not trying to make you feel like you need to get out there and buy more right now. Really, I just want this to be like, it's a showcase of I am putting my money where my mouth is. When I'm making these videos and I'm like giving my opinion on what's a good buy right now, where you could put your money, where the market could be heading. I just want you to know that I'm absolutely vested in this. Like I have so much wrapped up in this hobby because that's how confident I am in it. And so that's the point of me making this video. Just giving a little bit of background on myself, how I got into this hobby, where I started, where it is now. And this is an example of what you can build over time. Not everyone has a huge amount of money that they can expend month after month to be putting into sealed product and slabs and things like that, but that's okay. Like, you don't need to be in a rush. Just slowly over time, grab a couple of things here and there, put it in storage, or if it's a cool PSA 10 you like, put it on display. If it's super expensive, send it off to the PSA vault. It's just something you do over time. Have fun with it, guys. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Put them in the comments section. I know this was a longer video, but it was kind of a lot to go through, and I wanted this video to at least exist on this channel to show you guys, how invested I am into this hobby and how strongly I believe in it over time. Um, I've been doing this for a few years now, and really even before 2020, but seriously for the last 5, 6 years. And that's the type of portfolio you can build in that time. Some people have more expendable cash and they can do that a lot faster than I can. And if you don't have as much, that's okay. Like, don't put yourself in a bad position, guys. Be smart. Don't over leverage yourself. Only put into this hobby what you can afford, and don't forget to have fun with it. That's the biggest thing for me. That's why I'm doing that National Dex binder. Although I have my slabs and I have my sealed product, that's my fun project. That's what something to kind of keep me going in this hobby, to not just make it a dollar sign for me. That's something I'm having a lot of fun with. I'm doing it with a couple of friends as well, and I just think it's kind of a fun side project. But that's gonna wrap it up for today, guys. I know it was a longer video, so I appreciate it if you watched all the way to the end. Um, I thank you for that. This was a lot of information, but again, if you have questions, put them in the comment section. I'm happy to answer them. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I mean, if you guys have any opinions on this stuff, I want to hear it, because this channel, I want it to be about the community as well. I want people to participate. I want to engage with you guys and hopefully grow over time and build something really cool here. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get hunting.